Ryan Riley covering the Cuomo investigation. Jonathan Capehart is an MSNBC host, Washington Post associate editor, and Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist and author of the new book, Yet Here I Am. And an MSNBC legal correspondent is with us, Lisa Rubin, in studio. Ryan, I want to start out with this investigation into Andrew Cuomo. What exactly is it about, and why are we finding out about it now?
Yeah, it all has to do with this testimony that he gave about his response to COVID. So Republicans had alleged that he had lied during that testimony. But the tricky part is that he used that constant refrain that you constantly hear from politicians, saying that they do not recall a certain event. So it makes it a very tricky case to bring forward, and it's not necessarily something that would be receiving a lot of attention. But Republicans had referred it to the Justice Department previously, and then sort of re-upped that referral just last month. You can hear some of his testimony here.
Trump's shocking allegations, all false, were designed to shift blame from him to Democrats, and they did. They also created great pain, confusion, and fear for families. These are all diversions to blame New York and other states for the culpability of the federal response, which was malpractice.
So obviously, with this investigation, as well as the other one into the New Jersey Congresswoman, you have some pretty unique approach that the Justice Department is taking here, a real departure from how these investigations have been handled previously. And it all comes at a time when the public integrity section at DOJ has really been decimated and sort of sidetracked and put to the side as all of these investigations move forward. Chris.
So, Jonathan, even if the Trump administration argues there are legitimate reasons to investigate New York's COVID response, can you separate that from the perception that this is just another example of Trump using the DOJ to go after a political enemy?
No, you can't separate it, Chris. I mean, in the intro to this segment, you pointed out not only is he reportedly going after the former governor and current candidate for mayor of New York City, he is going after a member of the Justice Department, is going after a member of Congress who is trying to exercise her oversight duties as a member of Congress. We also can't forget about Judge Dugan, the judge in Milwaukee, who the Justice Department who has been arrested in an immigration-related case. These are all things that you have to look at from the lens of what the president promised during his campaign, and that was retribution, and that is what we're seeing here.
So, Lisa, back in 2021, Jeanine Pirro was still a host on Fox News. She's now the interim U.S. attorney in Washington, D.C., the office that's heading up this investigation. So with that in mind, I want to play it's really a small part of a 10-minute diatribe she did back then about Cuomo's decision to allow infected seniors to go into nursing homes.
You are incompetent. You, by undercounting and underreporting, you not only tried to cover up your intentional effort that recklessly caused the death of thousands of seniors, you believed you could manipulate the press and the public at the same time. And when caught, you blamed everyone in the federal government, President Trump, old age, Roger Stone, and God. You cannot escape the consequences of your intentional and reckless acts.
Again, that went on for 10 minutes. We should note that Cuomo has testified he was following federal guidelines at the time when he made the decision. In that same segment, Jeanine Pirro suggested that an investigation could look into crimes including manslaughter and criminally negligent homicide. Where could this go?
I think given where the investigation is, again, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of D.C., the jurisdiction that they would have would be over Andrew Cuomo's comments and testimony to Congress. Some of the other things that allegedly occurred here occurred in New York, where Andrew Cuomo was governor at the time. It's not clear to me that Jeanine Pirro, as the interim U.S. attorney for the District of D.C., would have any jurisdiction to prosecute those things. However, she may be looking into the veracity of Andrew Cuomo's testimony. And as Ryan said earlier, those I don't recalls make prosecuting somebody for lying to Congress a lot more difficult. Chris, there's one more thing that I want to note is
because you can't get into their head and know whether or not they recall or not.
Correct. And unless you have counter evidence showing that, in fact, they do recall, for example, contemporaneous statements that they made privately, hard to show that they, in fact, did recall. Jeanine Pirro has herself been under investigation by the Department of Justice well before she was ever a host on Fox, while she was running for political office. She was running for Attorney General against who? Andrew Cuomo. So this is a history that is very long-standing, and it's not at all clear to me that in a normal, conventional Department of Justice, Jeanine Pirro would have any choice but to recuse herself from this investigation.
And just to be clear, she lost.
She did. She withdrew from it.
Okay, Jonathan, all of this is coming against the backdrop of a political race, and you mentioned it, for mayor of New York City. Cuomo is leading among Democrats. The primary is just a few days, more than a month away. If he wins, he would go up against Mayor Eric Adams, who was also under investigation until early April, when a judge dismissed charges against him at the request of DOJ. Is the Trump administration putting its thumb on the scales here?
You know, in the before times, I would say to you, Chris, oh no, that would never happen. The administration would never do such a thing. But we're talking about the Trump administration, and specifically a second Trump administration that is way more brazen about exercising power, whether it is legal or not, to do things that it wants to do things that the president wants to do. And if the president thinks, and his administration thinks, that going after Andrew Cuomo could possibly help Eric Adams, someone the president pardoned, it seems like it, that they are willing to do it. The question remains whether that will work, because in the end, the election of a mayor is in the hands of the people.
Yeah, and you never know, given New York's political leanings, that it might work against him. I'm talking about Eric Adams, to think that he's getting the support of Donald Trump. Having said that, Lisa, in both of these cases, the Congresswoman McIver as well, it turns out that both of them learned about it kind of after the fact. It was public, or it was on Twitter, or is that normal?
Well, let's separate between the two, because I don't think they're similarly situated. Andrew Cuomo is understood to be under investigation. LaMonica McIver learned about charges against her from a press release from the interim U.S. attorney and did not receive the actual charging documents for another 12-plus hours. I reported that yesterday.
Yeah, her lawyers had to go after him.
Correct. People oftentimes find out that they are subjects of investigation through media leaks. Those are unfortunate. They are also atypical. But what's really atypical is somebody who then becomes a criminal defendant learning about it through the media. Typically, you see the Department of Justice announcing charges simultaneously with their being publicly unsealed or filed in court, not hours ahead of time, and certainly not before a defendant or their lawyer has an opportunity to defend against the charges. LaMonica McIver and her legal team didn't know she was facing 2 felony counts of assault against a federal officer until the next morning after Alina Habba's statement. That's what's really atypical here, Chris.